look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Okay, pumpkin. Who am I? Say, Mama. Mama.
Alexa, play the Tang Tangs.
That's not my name.
Tens of millions of songs, one for every moment. Amazon Music Unlimited. For a limited time only, sign up today and receive 3 months for 99 cents at amazon.com/music unlimited. Automatically renews, cancel anytime.
The San Bernardino County Human Trafficking Task Force has been in action arresting several men. An online decoy advertisement posed as a female prostitute. Of all the callers, 11 men made dates with undercover officers and were arrested. A San Bernardino jury convicted a Moreno Valley gang member Friday on 3 counts of murder stemming from a parking lot shooting outside a San Bernardino hookah lounge in 2014. Police attributed the gunfire to a verbal exchange between the victims and Trayvon Stokes. He will receive a no-parole prison sentence when he returns to court February 16th. CAL FIRE confirms that a motorcyclist was killed late Friday in a traffic mishap at Lakeland Village near Lake Elsinore. The victim perished in a collision with a passenger vehicle on Grand Avenue. Police right now are investigating the death of a woman who was found in a Santa Ana apartment on Saturday. Right now, neighbors are describing this as a domestic violence incident. Homicide detectives are looking into reports of a domestic argument between a man and a woman shortly after 11 a.m. It is being reported that when officers arrived, they did not get a response at the door. When they did make an entry to the apartment, they found a woman in her 30s severely injured and bleeding. Your forecast today, 72 degrees in Riverside, cooling off to 41 degrees by tonight, then coming right back up to 71 degrees tomorrow. With the Inland News Update, I'm Blake Trolley.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 60 years. We are locally owned and operated by the Stevens family. We not only clean carpet and furniture, we clean many loose rugs, including Oriental rugs. Oriental rugs are cleaned in our modern facility where the fringes are cleaned by hand, then hung in our modern facility to dry. We do not use steam cleaning to clean your fine furniture. Furniture is cleaned by hand using the same absorption cleaning used in the White House. Some furniture we bring into our plant to clean properly. We normally use 2 men on each cleaning job using the extraction method. There is nothing that will clean carpet better for our customers. Our job is to clean properly with quality first. Google Carpet Masters San Bernardino and give us a call, or go to carpetmasterssocal.com.
I'm Matt Rock with the all-new Matt Rock Show. Starting Mondays at 8 p.m., many people are looking to be healthier, happier, and closer to their life goals this new year. Join my friends and me as we share how you can develop a positive, energetic, and prosperous lifestyle as you pursue your dreams and goals passionately. Tune into the newest and most dynamic talk show on the air, The Matt Rock Show, every Monday at 8 p.m. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
And now, it's For the People with Judge Herb Dodell.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our holiday show. We're being politically correct. Some call it Hanukkah, some call it Christmas,
Happy
some
Hanukkah,
call it
Judge.
something else,
Happy Hanukkah, Judge.
whatever it is. But we are going to do a little spiritual part of this today, just a little something to add to the facts and the information. I listened to the last 6 shows the other night, just what do they call that? And I binged on listening to these shows. Put my wife to sleep, but I listen. I listen.
You put your wife to sleep. You mean those shows they're so interesting?
No.
Knocked her out.
She got up early that morning.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, I was thinking, I haven't really mentioned in a while what the purpose of the show is and what the purpose of the book is. And it's mainly, the title pretty much says it, Not the part that says from the trench to the bench. That's just talking about what I've done as a trial lawyer and my experiences and perspectives as a bench officer, judge. But the rest of the title says navigating the legal system and finding your spiritual path along the way.
Okay, tell us what.
So
what
we're
do you
going to
mean
do
by
that.
Tell us about that.
Well, I used to ask people when I used to do lectures, how many people believed in random? And people would raise their hand, and I'd say, okay, so if it's random, it's like luck, right? Yeah, they would say that. I said, well, if that's true, then you have no control over anything. It just happens, The old expression, you heard the old expression. It happens.
It happens.
Then I would ask people how many people believed in predestination, so to speak. And people would raise their hand. And I would always say, how many people wouldn't raise your hand no matter what question I asked? And I got a little audience participation out of that. But the reality is it's one or the other. Which one do you think it is?
I think things are predestined.
That's
I really
right.
do.
The movie's done. The movie's in the can.
It's already there. It's just gonna, you're just gonna follow the path. And if you take, I think there's like two paths, and it's already predestined which path you're gonna take. You could take the right one, or you could take the wrong one.
That's what free choice is about.
Exactly. So I believe in predestination, and you manifest your predestiny by negative and positive energy.
That's exactly right.
Really?
Everything is remarkable. You're so profound, Gary. And I look at you every week, and you're so profound. But the reality is everything has been decided already, except you haven't manifested it yet. It hasn't come to reality. So you do have control. So we were created to be able to make choices between what are those alternatives. It's like the movie Sliding Doors. When you do a positive act, it bounces off of a mirror, which is the world above us. I mean, scientists will tell you that. This is not anything that comes out of some religious tract or anything. It's what it is. And that dimension has a name, and it bounces off and it comes back to you in the form that you basically sent it. So when you do a good deed, you are acting like the Creator, because the Creator only does good deeds. All the Creator wants to do is take care of you. And ask for it and you get it. But the problem is that if you ask for it and you get it, you have to have earned it. If you haven't earned it, or you took something from somebody else for instant gratification for yourself to their detriment, that desire is reflected up and it comes back to you in chaos, in different kinds of forms, whether it's a physical, a mental, relationship, whatever it comes back, it comes back because you created it.
I agree with you 100% on
And I'm going to tell you how it fits into the legal system. That's one of the reasons I wrote the book.
Cool.
And the same thing with not so good things.
Of course.
Yeah, you can charge that extra quarter of an hour if you're a lawyer. You can do an unnecessary test if you're the doctor. You can do lots of things to take advantage of other people. You can steal their money. You can do all these things. And you say to yourself, oh, see, I got away with it, Nothing
But you
ever happened.
didn't. But you didn't.
You didn't get away with it because at the end of the day, you didn't follow the universal principle. The universal principle is if you do good deeds come back. So it's really about your own good self-interest. You do not such good things, comes back to you in another form. And time separates cause from effect. So something may happen to you 5 years from now that you created 5 years earlier, but you don't recognize that they're connected. People think things happen suddenly. Nothing happens suddenly.
I agree with you 100% on this.
Nothing happens suddenly.
No.
You take an oak tree, it started out with a little acorn or something.
Right.
And it doesn't grow overnight. It's like everything else. So how does it fit into the legal system? Well, let's say you got into a situation, which is a difficult one because everything is a dispute. When you're dealing with litigation, it's a dispute. And you say to yourself, okay, I got this. I got it for a reason. Because like this Rolling Stones used to say, you don't always get what you want, you get what you need. And sometimes what you get is not something you really think you would like to have, but you got it. And you got it for a reason. It's presented to you in a format that you have an opportunity to make a choice. You can choose to connect to that tree of energy, that positive energy, or you can connect to the other one. Whatever's going to come out is what you created, and time separates cause from effect. That's what this is about. So the advice that I would give to people, and this time I do give advice, is do the right thing. Why do you do the right thing? Because it's in your best interest to do the right thing. And so when you're in a situation, in a dispute, and it's angry and it's hostile, that's all ego. Ego doesn't do you any good. It's like I put in the book from Dr. Walter Jacobson, who wrote, Forgiveness is the Way to Go. That doesn't mean you roll over and you kick your paws up and you take a beating. You still fight for what's right for yourself. You always do that. Doesn't mean conceding or surrendering. It means just treating it a little bit differently, recognizing what the situation is. And if you do that, if you can deal with the opposition in a forgiveness manner, if you can give up the idea you're going to get revenge, because that's what most of this is about.
Right.
Especially in restraining order cases, it's about revenge. You know, you bruised my ego, you ran off with the other guy, you did this, whatever you did, and you're going to pay for it. When you go into anything with that attitude, you're coming out with nothing so terrific at the end of the day. A day, a week, a month. Now, today it's even more important. Why? Because time is no longer as long as it used to be. Everything happens instantaneously.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, if you wanted to make a phone call 25 years ago, you picked up the phone. I remember picking up the phone and giving an operator, a real person, the number, and they dialed it, and that's how you got to make a phone call. When you called somebody long distance, the price was prohibitive, right?
Right.
Now you press the button, you talk around the world, everybody sees your face. You know, we get great joy out of watching our granddaughter on the weekends on FaceTime.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So time is no longer what it used to be.
Yeah.
And if it's not what it used to be, and it's going to be quick, the good stuff's coming quicker, and the not so good stuff is coming quicker. And how that happens is up to you.
I agree 100% on that.
That was the spiritual part of the book. One being that you got to earn it.
Yeah.
And if you just think you're going to hit it and run with it, and you may for the 20 minutes. You look at all these people now in the news that are getting all this bad raps from the people accusing them of all the sexual misconduct.
Oh, man.
Those people got away with it for years.
Yeah.
Years and years and years. But look at some of those people like Madoff and the others. Where are they? At the end of the day,
you get nailed.
You get nailed.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't get out of this thing without paying the price for it.
Well, you've always talked about karma, so it's all about karma.
It's the same thing.
Same exact thing.
Look, that's why these are spiritual principles that are universal. They're not really indigenous to any one religion. Most religions have the same basic principles. Christianity was based on the golden rule. It's the same rule. Do as to others as you want them to do to you. And so the bottom line is every one of them tells you the same thing. It's in your best interests. Next time, you listener, we'll talk about it right after the break.
All right.
This is
From the Trench to the Bench for the People. Yes, get the book From the Trench to the Bench.
Amazon.
Amazon.com. Judge Herb Dodell will be back right after these messages.
AM KCAA. Herb Dodell is a lawyer and a judge for the people. Having served as a Superior Court judge, presiding over more than 9,000 cases, he has witnessed firsthand how complicated and corrupt the legal system can be. His goal is to show how things really work in the legal system so that people can navigate the legal system in the best way for them. Many people often feel marginalized by the legal system and are uninformed about how to proceed when unfortunate circumstances arise in their life. Judge Herb will pull back the curtain, lift the veil, so people can truly understand their rights, have access to top legal personnel that they can trust, and have knowledge about how things work so they can make better choices. Judge Herb isn't just knowledgeable. His integrity and spiritual values are truly what make him different. He cares about democratizing access and information for all and desires to turn on the light so the people, you can benefit. For more information, email the judge at askjudgeherb@gmail.com. That's askjudgeherb@gmail.com.
Okay, welcome back. As I was saying a few minutes ago, this is about getting insights. When you can expect things to happen, you're less frightened, you're less fearful because there's more certainty in your life. And if you follow the rules, you know if you were going to jump up and down, gravity's going to pull you down. It's just the same thing. Gravity is a physical rule. These are emotional rules. These are spiritual rules. This is how the system really works. You know, when you talk about random, Einstein was asked that question, if everything was random. He says, God didn't play dice with the universe. So we're here to do our thing, whatever our thing is. But we've got some great guidelines to get us there. And the purpose of the book and the purpose of the show is to alleviate the stress and the anxiety of a system that you have nothing in the way of an experience that you can use as a background.
It's very scary to go into court.
Well, I would imagine that's true.
I mean, especially if you know,
even if you're a lawyer.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the bottom line is, you know, I mean, you know, you're a judge. You've been there 100 times, thousands of times. I was, you know, raised by a father who was a criminal attorney. I went to the court hundreds of times with him. But even when I had to deal with some small claims lawsuits and things like that, I was shaken up. In fact, I was just telling you off the air when I got sued a couple of years ago by a certain, well, I wouldn't say celebrity, but a certain guest that I had on my show. He's no celebrity. What am I talking about?
He was a legend in his own mind.
He was a legend in his own mind and sued me during the holidays 2 years ago. And it really shook me up where I couldn't sleep at night. It really ruined my holidays. So even knowing that I was right and he was wrong, it's still very stressful. It's a very stressful place to go, is court.
Well, believe it or not, even for lawyers, I was in the courts as a trial lawyer for a long time. Tried lots of jury trials, a lot of court trials and whatever. I still used to get a little butterflies in the stomach walking.
Why? Why would you as a trial lawyer?
It's a little uncertain. It's about uncertainty.
Uncertainty, right?
And it's about expectations. You know, you have these great expectations. You have this great can't lose case. And then when you lose, you say to yourself, I had a can't lose case. And that's the unexpected is what gets you.
Right.
You sit around and you wait for a decision to be made by some third party that's out of your control.
Yeah.
And when you have that and you have the wrong people looking at you from the bench, unfriendly, for a variety of reasons, we've talked about some of those, judges who think that they've been anointed instead of appointed, you sometimes get that little knot in your stomach and a little nervous about it. That's normal. So that's a good lead-in because I want to tell you people what happens in the courtroom.
Yeah, please do.
So you walk in the door. There you are. You got a case pending. So who do you see other than a lot of people sitting around or standing around?
Bailiff?
You don't see the judge yet, usually, because you got to check in first.
Right.
And we have an office in the back. It's called chambers. Comes from the French chambre. Means like bedroom.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. But some of them use it as that.
There's not.
I shouldn't say that.
Hey, you know what? Judges have.
Some have. Some have.
I've been in the chambers before with a couple judges with my dad's friends, and they're nice. They're set up, they're pretty nice. Some of them are pretty nice.
Oh, some of them are awful too. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the story about Long Beach.
Okay. Long Beach sucks.
I was assigned to restraining orders in Long Beach, and the old courthouse. And it was an old courthouse. I had been a DA there. That's how old that courthouse was. And in order to get into the chambers, you had to walk through the courtroom. There was no back hallway. No,
because usually there's a back hallway. If you guys don't know what the judge is talking about, usually in the court there's a back hallway for the judges to enter.
All court
personnel. Yeah.
And usually we have an elevator back there.
Yeah.
That's so it's really for our protection.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you the story as to how that turned out to be.
I'm sure.
But you see the clerk, and he or she pretty much runs the courtroom.
Right.
Very important to make friends with the clerk.
Yeah.
Don't be perceived as an annoyance or otherwise, because you'll end up on the bottom of the pile
all day.
And believe it or not, we do talk to the clerks about the cases. I used to get little notes passed up to me by, her name was Gypsy. She was my court clerk. Now they call her judicial assistant in Torrance.
Of course.
In Torrance. She was great. And she'd hand me these little notes, these little Post-its, and she'd say, "He's been here before. You can't trust him." You know.
Really?
Yeah. I used to get a little notes and stuff like that.
Wow.
And sometimes, and specifically, I remember one time I was early on when I was first appointed, and it was a situation when somebody didn't show up, and I was telling the plaintiff, that the defendant could appeal because they didn't show up, and there was a judgment against him. And I got this little note, and it says, "You can't do that. They don't have a right of appeal." Oh, so I was given the wrong information. So they know a lot. That's all they do. They're competent. They're capable. They listen. They're methodical. And they make your life so much easier. You really have no idea how much easier it is because they do it for you.
Well, yeah, because, they handle all the cases.
Everything.
They handle the caseload for you.
Everything.
And then they give you, basically, they line up the cases for you for that day, right? Well,
yeah.
You
get a calendar.
That's a calendar, yeah.
But what they do is they check everybody in with the bailiff.
Right.
And they check off. So when we come out, if you've got 30 cases, you don't have to read 30 cases to prepare if you know some of them are not going to show up. And so you got to take that into consideration, who's going to be there and who's not going to be there.
Yeah.
But the clerk does it all. Now, the bailiff is a great part of the process. Other than on Judge Judy when they walk up and they hand you the papers, which they do, which they really do.
Yeah.
Because the reason is that the public, even the lawyers, are not permitted to go into what they call the well. The well is a spot between the counsel table or the litigants table and the bench.
Right. That's that space in between.
That's a forbidden zone.
Unless you say you call them
May I approach?
Yeah, may I approach the bench?
Yeah.
That's the only way you go up there.
Yeah, you take one step into that well, they're going to grab you.
Right.
And they are extremely well trained. And we got a button underneath, too, to press if there's anything, which is a great story I'm going to tell you next.
Does the floor come underneath them or something? Put some down.
The music blares, the lights go on, But the bailiff is, he's carrying a gun. He's not carrying it. He's a law enforcement person.
Isn't he a sheriff or something like that? He's a sheriff.
Yeah. Sheriff, police. It depends on what court you're in.
Yeah.
But they watch out for you. So I'm in Long Beach, right? And you got to walk through the court room to get into the hallway.
That's weird.
To go down the hall.
Yeah.
So if somebody raises a question, and I didn't know the answer, it was relatively early on. I didn't know the answer. And I said, well, I want to get the answer to this question. I got these people and yada, yada, yada. So I said, okay, we'll be in recess for, 10 minutes, whatever it is. And I just got off the bench and started walking. I walk out into the hallway. I walk down the hall to the site judge's chambers or to the courtroom. And I'm going to ask him the question, how am I going to resolve this issue? The bailiff, I'm wearing the robe. The bailiff comes over to me and he not physically, he says, you can't be walking around here like this. I said, well, what do you mean? He says, you cannot walk outside of your courtroom with the robe on. So why not? He says, because people are able to jump you in the hall. I said, oh, really? He says, no, you can't. I'm walking you back. So he walked me back all the way to the courtroom. So they really do watch out for you.
Wow.
And they're serious about it, too.
Yeah.
I think I may have told this one story. I'm sure I told this story before.
By the way, I want to ask him, when did you become a judge? When was
2008.
2008. Okay, cool.
So I'm on my 10th year.
Wow, congratulations.
10th year and over 10,000 cases.
Damn.
Well, a lot of them are, 10 seconds.
But still, the 10,000 cases in 10 years, that's 1,000 a year.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But it's great variety.
Yeah.
Because when I took the appointment, I limited it to what I wanted to do. I wasn't taking any chances I was going to get sent to traffic court or any of the other places I didn't want to go. So they let me pick the subjects that I liked, 3 or 4 subjects that I liked. And I made a deal. I did tenants and landlords, even though I didn't really want to do it. It's kind of like a trade-off.
Right.
Because I liked small claims and I liked restraining orders. So we mixed it up. They would send me to Antelope Valley to do unlawful detainers, and I'd get my pick of restraining orders downtown, which is what was my favorite court at that time. So here's the story. I was doing what they call law in motion. Law in motion means lawyers are asking for requests from the court, dismissal, continual, whatever it is that they're looking for. We have to read these. And lawyers submit what's called briefs. A brief is a summary of what the law is, and you get the facts first, and then the argument is apply these facts to the law, and that's the concept known as stare decisis, which is what the law is based on. Precedent. And so you have to read all this stuff. Both sides submit briefs. Sometimes they're very long. Sometimes they're not so long. Some of them are good. Some of them are not so good. But you have to read them because you have to make a decision whether you're going to dismiss a case or you're not, or you're going to grant relief, force somebody to answer interrogatories or things like that. You have to really...
Continuances, things like
whatever.
that.
Continuances are easy.
Okay.
But discretionary.
Okay.
But the end result is that you have to be prepared because that's the case.
Right.
There's no trial yet. That's pre-trial. So I'm reading it, everything I finish up, and I'm getting ready to come out, and it's never really on time.
You guys are never on time.
Never on time.
Never. You're like doctors.
Some of them are. I was never on time.
None of the judges are on time. I don't think I've been in a courtroom where a judge has been on time.
But a lot of times the truth of the matter is we're sitting back there reading. It's not like we're hanging out. We're really
not having a cup of coffee.
Well, we're reading.
Okay.
We have to read everything that's there.
I dig it.
So I'm done, and I'm getting ready to go out, and I'm putting the robe on, because it's hot to wear that robe. It really is. It's not. It's hot.
Okay, Judge.
So
whatever.
you put it. So you lay it down on the chair or something, and you get up and you can put the robe on, right? So I'm putting the robe on, and I press the button, tell them I'm coming out, so they can tell the people, okay, stop talking, don't chew any more gum, whatever they.
Please be seated.
Make sure you turn off the cell phone.
The whole 9 yards.
No texting, whatever they tell them.
Right.
And so you have to warn that you're coming out.
Right.
You're done. You're ready. You got all the files in your hand. Some of them sometimes you got a fistful. I mean, really. So all of a sudden, the door swings open, and 2 or 3 sheriffs are there with their hands on the guns, and they say, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah. Why not?" Well, I pressed the panic button.
You pressed the wrong button?
I pressed the wrong button. They got there so incredibly fast, and they were so thorough. We have a bathroom, too. We got our own little toilets, So they went in there. They looked under the desk. The whole thing. They're really, the bailiffs are there to protect us. And when I do night court, every now and again, they walk you to your car.
Oh, that's cool. Well, they better.
So that's the bailiff. So now you know what the clerk and the bailiff does, and the judge what the judge does. That's how the system operates. We'll talk a little bit more about a specific kind of case after the break.
1050 AM, KCAA.
In his book, From the Trench to the Bench, Judge Herb Dodell demystifies the legal system, including both civil and criminal, the lawyers, the judges, and the process. As a judge, former deputy district attorney, and criminal defense attorney, he knows the legal system. He has the inside information that you need to pick a lawyer, and he's here to give it to you. No matter what you're facing that makes you think you may need a lawyer, Judge Herb will shed valuable light on your situation and reveal your best options and many secrets of how the judicial system actually works. To find out more about how the legal system really works, you can get your copy of Judge Herb Dodell's eye-opening book, From the Trench to the Bench, at Amazon.com.
Okay, welcome back. Gary and I we were talking just off while we were going to the commercial break. This is inside stuff.
It is.
This is the reason. This is one of the reasons I wrote the book. I wanted the public to know how it really works. We don't, as lay people, there's very little exposure to what goes on behind the doors.
Well, that's what's so scary about it. That's what I'm talking about. That's why people get lawyers when they don't need lawyers and things like that, because they'd rather get a lawyer, I think, than have to go through the panic of the unknown, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a big uncertainty because you don't know the language.
Well, you don't even know. Some people never been to court. They don't even know how to act in court or how to even address you. A lot of people just go, "Hey, judge," or whatever. So say Your Honor. I mean, I think there's just certain things that my dad taught me that help you in the courts, and help you win sometimes. How you address, how you dress, how you address people, how you act, things like that.
I like to think that it doesn't make any difference at the end of the day.
I don't know. Because
I still remember that case in Beverly Hills, and this one the bailiff actually had to stop somebody from approaching the bench.
Right.
She was an annoying woman. She was just loud and rude, and she wouldn't stop talking and talking over me and everything else. And no matter what I told her, she wasn't listening.
But you still ruled for her.
I did.
But I'm just saying. I mean, I'm talking about maybe criminal, and he was more of a criminal attorney, so he
yeah,
wanted.
Well, that's true.
It's
probably,
a little different.
Yeah, probably true because look, if there's no jury present, the defendant comes in prison jumpsuit.
Right.
Nice orange suit. Very nice orange suit.
L.A. County.
And sometimes they come in with shackles.
Right. Yeah.
And I had a guy. There was a guy that I was defending on a serious. He had allegedly raped over 20 women.
Wow.
And he was called a Valley Rapist. And they brought him in chains.
Yeah.
And hooked him up. I mean, he wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, he's sitting right next to me, and every now and again somebody would say something. He'd shake those little.
Let me ask
shackles.
you, how is it to defend somebody like that when the guy's done something so reprehensible like that, and then you have to defend him? You almost have to be his friend in a way. How do you handle something like that?
No, you don't have to be the friend, but you have to be courteous, and you have a job to do.
Yeah.
A former PD once said to me, I asked her that question. I said, "How can you continuously represent these horrible people?" And she says, "It's not the people, it's the principles. It's whether or not the prosecution has proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. That's my job, just to establish whether or not there's such a doubt." She never got involved with any of the people's personal lives. And I think to some degree, you divorce yourself from that as best you can. After that night, I'll never forget that night, I went home and I said, "I can't do this anymore. I can't represent people like this anymore." I was so troubled by the fact, and he would lean over and he would say, "Oh, she loved it."
Really?
Oh, yeah, he was one dangerous guy.
Wow.
And I said, "I'm done."
Yeah.
I had represented some gang people, not the real gangs, the gangsters.
Yeah.
I was telling we went to dinner the other night in Beverly Hills to one of these old gangster joints. The gangsters used to hang out.
Where was it at?
And on Santa Monica Boulevard.
What's it called?
Carmine's.
Carmine. Okay.
It was a Sinatra hangout.
Right. Okay. Carmine's.
And I remember when I wasn't out of the DA's office that long, and I was representing some alleged mafia hitman. And those years I was going with somebody who was an airline hostess, so she was out of town a lot. And he said, "Come on, I'll take you out to dinner." So, okay. He took us to this place, and they had a back room, and it was Goodfellas.
Really?
It was the real deal, and I said, "Oh, woof."
Was it exciting or?
Yeah, it was.
I bet.
Yeah, it was. In fact, at one point they offered, because I had come from one of the studios, and I had been a head of business affairs there, and they made me an offer they wanted to open up their own studio. They had a name for it and everything, and I thought about it, and I passed. I said to myself, if I take this job, I'm owned for the rest of my life. They'll take good care of you, but you are owned.
Yeah, you're done.
You are. And I said I passed on it. But white collar crimes never bothered me. I never really had a difficult time with. I represented a lot of the streetwalkers. You know, the ladies of the night that worked on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh yeah, I remember that back.
Me
in
and
the
Bob
day.
Shapiro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and I used to work for a guy across the street. His name was Harry Weiss. He was famous. And we would make appearances for him and stuff, and I would have all these hookers, and then I ended up with the pimps. They were great. They were very entertaining.
I bet.
Oh, it was a great period of time in my life.
Yeah, there actually was hookers on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh yeah,
lots of them.
Tons
of them.
And we'd run them through the court in Beverly Hills, in the municipal court in Beverly Hills, and they'd end up, most of them, going to join some program or whatever it was. And there was never really none of those people were doing any time.
Yeah.
And they would run them through, and it was like a cattle call. It would be 20. They'd run a sweep like on a weekend. So on Monday morning, we had, between me and Shapiro and a guy by the name of Peter Connect.
Yeah.
And Harry and the late Sheldon Andelson, who was a terrific lawyer. We kind of had the group there. That was fun.
I bet. I mean, a bunch of hot chicks, you know. I mean,
but I didn't do trade outs with them.
I was going to ask you.
I took guitar lessons from one guy.
Guitar lessons.
Yeah, I think it was a dope case, and I took like 10 guitar lessons in exchange. And he was a guitar player, but the women. Nah,
never, huh?
Nah, I couldn't.
I'm sure they offer though, right?
A
few times, a couple times.
You know, it's been a long time.
Okay.
I don't know if did they offer in subtle ways.
I'm
I
sure.
suppose.
Come
but
on.
See, but all the women that I was representing were pimped women.
Right. So you didn't want to deal with the pimps.
That was the source of my business.
Right.
They drove the big Cadillacs, and it was fun. It was like, that was an interesting period. That's long before I met my wife.
Yeah, of course.
But it was. You asked a question about wanting to represent those people.
Well, I'm talking about the hardcore guys. Like you said, this guy
couldn't do it.
This guy was a rapist, and he raped 20 women. I mean, that'd be hard for anybody to deal with. You know.
But know what he wanted? He wanted to go to a hospital.
Oh, really? Because he knew he was sick, or what?
Yeah, I think he had obviously he had issues.
Of course.
But they wanted no less than 20 years. And he was ready to take a shot with that.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this is 40 years ago. Maybe,
so is he? You think he's gone?
Than that. Oh, yeah. I think long ago.
Yeah.
But I didn't do the trial.
Oh, you didn't?
I just did the preliminary hearing.
And then you just passed on it.
I said I wasn't going to go the rest of it.
Yeah, it's tough. You know what I mean? That's got to be tough. I mean, my dad did it. My dad was a criminal attorney for 30 years, and he represented a lot of the Crips and the Bloods and the Mexican gangs and stuff like that. He actually became friends with a couple of them, actually.
I did become friends with this mafia guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're charming people.
I went to his funeral.
Yeah. I mean, the guy from the White Fence went to my dad's funeral. The head of the Mexican mafia went to my dad's funeral. And he's said, "Hey, you need anything, let me know." It sort of felt good to.
Well, I went to to me. Actually, I had met my wife just about 6 months before this guy died, and I got a call like in the middle of the night from his wife. Of course, I knew the family pretty well by then.
Yeah.
No pun intended. I knew the family, literally.
Right.
And they called and said he had passed. He was in San Quentin. Nothing that I represented him on. He had gotten involved in some business deal, and they got him on it. The FBI was chasing him for years and years.
Isn't it amazing, Judge, that they never get him for murder, but they always get him for like tax evasion or some weird white collar thing?
And that's what he said to me. He said, I did all these things all these years. He confided to me. Of course, he's been dead so long. I'm not mentioning his name.
Right.
But he told me he killed 200 people.
Really?
Yeah.
200?
200 people.
Wow.
And I would say to him, don't you feel anything? He says, what are you talking about? I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
He says, that's no different than being in Vietnam with a rifle. These people are not innocent people. These are people who did business with the group and whatever the reason was. And he would tell me stories of how he did it. I mean, I would say, it was all privileged.
Yeah.
And I kind of remembered all of that.
But he was a nice guy.
No.
He wasn't a nice guy. Well, you befriended him.
Yeah, I did, because he
paid you a lot of money.
He had a lot of the guys in that world have a respect for lawyers, and he had that respect. And I had done some good work for him and business things and whatever, nothing illegal. And he kind of developed a friendship with me, and he would call me. And I mean, I'll tell the story. It's a long time ago. Some guy came into my office with a gun to kill me. True story.
What?
Yeah, he had separated from his wife, and she was a beautiful woman. I remember her, and I was representing the wife, and he didn't take kindly to it. So he showed up one day with a gun, the whole deal. And my office, they called the sheriff, and they came and whatever. But the guy was calling me at night. I was afraid I carried a gun, because I was concerned that the guy was going to show up.
Wow.
And so one day I called my client. I said, do me a favor. He would never talk to me on the phone. He used to say, if you don't want it known, don't say it on the phone.
Let's go to Carmine's.
So didn't go to Carmine's. I don't know if Carmine's going to appreciate the plug. But the food is good.
Hey,
the food is good. The food is good. The drinks are good.
It's 100 years ago. It's 100 years ago this happened.
And Carmen's dead.
Yeah.
Right. Carmen Jr.'s there now, I think.
Don't worry about it.
The bottom.
But tell us what so you talked to, so you guys met somewhere.
No, yeah.
Mafia cast.
Yeah, he would walk with me on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
My office was on Sunset.
Oh, is that
Boulevard.
what you do? You go walking on Sunset?
Yeah, walk on Sunset.
Unbelievable.
Didn't do a pat down, but he wouldn't he wouldn't even talk to me in my office.
Really?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, very careful.
Of course, you have to.
So I tell him the story. I said, this guy, he's coming up and he's threatening me. He came up with a gun. They took him down to the sheriff's, whatever. He says, give me the address, name and address. I said, I don't want anything to happen to this guy. This is not what I'm looking to do.
It's not a hit.
It's not. I don't want anything. I just want him to know that I have a friend.
Right.
And he did. So I never heard from the guy again. He was alive.
Clarify that, please.
He had a lawyer, and he was well, but he never bothered me again. Because he went over to him and he lifted him. He explained to me what he did.
What did he do?
I took my hand and I put it on his throat and I lifted him up and I held him up on the wall and I said to him, if this guy's hair moves from one side to the other, you don't see the light of day. And that was the end of that.
Wow.
So that's a true story. It's an absolute true story.
I believe you. Everything you said.
I've had some great stories. I got to tell you.
Man, this is crazy.
You know, but they're all different.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I got was diversity, even though people are not using that word these days. Diversity. I handled all kinds of things. So it was really interesting. I learned about all kinds of businesses that I never would have known about. How to feed cattle. I mean, how would I know how to feed cattle? I just know it came out the back end when you fed the cattle. That's all I knew.
All right, we got to take a break, Judge.
Okay, we'll be back.
All right, it is For the People with Judge Herb Dodell. Get his book, From the Trench to the Bench, Amazon.com. We'll be back right after this.
NBC Talk Radio, 1050 AM, KCAA.
Did you ever meet a lawyer that was for the people? Someone who had the best interests of the people at heart. Herb Dodell has been a lawyer for more than 50 years and has been a Superior Court judge for 9 years, having presided over more than 9,000 cases. In this show, he will reveal the secrets of how things really work in the legal system, so you can maximize your position and benefit most when you're in trouble and need someone on your side to simplify the process for you. For more information, email the judge at askjudgeherb@gmail.com. That's askjudgeherb@gmail.com.
Okay, welcome back. We'll cut out some of the stories and get into some information because I know you all want information.
The stories are great, though.
The stories are all great. You know, just think about how long I've been doing it.
You swear on the Bible on this, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
No, I don't. But I will affirm that it is true.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, I want to talk about personal injury cases because a lot of people are involved in auto accidents and they really don't know what to do. And you see so many billboards and bus stops and benches with names. A lot of times they say, he got $2 million from me or whatever it is. They keep pounding all of that.
Pappy Parker, right? Pappy Parker, is that his name?
I don't have any comment.
That's a fried chicken over at Bob's Big Boy, by the way.
Well, you know, many of those, in fact, if you watched any TV at night, you see all of these promotions, you know, measles and mesothelioma.
Yeah, what the hell is all that?
That's promotion.
I know, it's crazy. It's like,
well, those cases are like shooting fish in a barrel.
Why do you say that? In what way?
Because the liability is pretty clear. You know, as I mentioned last week, every case has two elements to it. One element is called liability, which means you have to prove or use a concept called res ipsa loquitur, which means the fact speaks for itself and you don't have to put on any real evidence. But that requires certain prerequisites to get to that. It's like you go to a surgery and you wake up and something's wrong. You don't know what happened because you're not there. But the things that happened normally do not happen. And so there's an inference that goes along with that. But for the most part, you have to prove liability. Once you do that, then you got to prove your damages. And this is, like I mentioned last week about the credit reporting agency. You got to show that you've been damaged. Otherwise, you get $1 or nothing. So in the personal injury world, if you get hit in the rear at 55 miles an hour on the freeway, first thing you want to do is find yourself a good lawyer. Are they any good, the ones that have all the billboards? Some are probably pretty good. Some of them are not. But there's a thing that are referred to in the business as a mill.
What's that?
A mill is a firm that just has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases. They'll scoop up anything anywhere. They're the classic ambulance chasers.
Okay.
And most of the work is done by clerks. That's making doctor's appointments, getting reports, getting a police report, whatever. But this is a very intense business, the personal injury business. They can make a lot of money, the lawyers, overnight.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
Because they usually try to settle the case.
Well, they settle 92.6% or something like that.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure.
Well, that's what the statistics are from the court. I once asked a friend of mine to get me the statistics, and he did. Most of them are settling, unless it's a disputed liability. So do you really need a lawyer? Yeah, you do.
You need a lawyer for this
stuff.
You do.
Although what happens now, what's been happening lately, because I've been seeing more of it in court, is if the case is not worth $10,000, the lawyer says to themselves, they got nothing to win here. What are they going to get? 40% of $6,000? They're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this case. So they bail out, and they send the client to a small claims court. Sometimes they'll sit in the back. Sometimes they'll send somebody from the office or whatever.
But did they still get their 30%?
It depends on what the lawyer works out with the client.
Okay.
Personally, I don't think it's justified.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
But that's not an issue that the court gets involved in. We just decide the case on the basis of liability and damages. Most of them, I'd say the vast majority of them are what they call soft tissue injury cases.
Right.
Soft tissue injury cases are muscles. You get a little backlash, whiplash.
Yeah. Your back hurt.
It lasts usually 2-3 months.
Yeah. I've had that happen before.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
It usually lasts 2-3 months. And the course is you go to the lawyer, and I always ask this question. It always gets an embarrassing answer from the other side. So how'd you get to the chiropractor? You know how they got there, right?
They drove.
No, they didn't get. They got there because the lawyer gave them the number.
Oh, okay. Oh, how do you get there? Okay, I get you.
Yeah, that was an ambiguous comment.
I get it. But I mean, usually what happened there? Okay, usually the doctor. I mean, the lawyer gets the doctor though. I mean, they represent the doctor, correct?
They don't represent the doctor.
I mean, excuse me. I mean, the lawyer usually has a doctor in mind,
or several,
or
doctors. Specialties.
Right.
Who's going to give epidurals? The amount of the value of your case depends on the amount of your medical bill and what the doctor, what he or she says in the report. And a lot of them are cookie cutter, it's all the tests are the same. I've had cases like that. I think I told the story during one of our shows where I had a husband and wife, and I'm reading the two medical reports that were identical.
Yeah, you did say something.
And in fact, in one of them, both of them referred to him as he.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it was, but for the most part, there are some very, very, very good ones, really good ones that know biomechanics, and they'll take a soft tissue injury case and really make something good out of it. But they'll also encourage people to get extra treatment. Because the more the treatment, the more the issues,
the more the money,
the more the recommendations. So they want the word recommended surgery. See, that increases the value of the case.
Right.
And so the same thing with work. Don't go to work for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because it make your case worth more.
Right.
And so a lot of it behind the scenes is borderline to me.
No, let me ask you. How do you recommend to get a lawyer then? If you don't get, you see the billboard out there and these other cats. What's the best way to get a lawyer if you don't have one or don't know one?
The best way is a personal recommendation from somebody who's used that lawyer before.
Okay, of course.
One of the questions you need to ask if you have a complicated or something more than just a minor case is that we use a lot of experts. Lawyers do. Mm-hmm. And an expert doctor, an expert forensic accountant. I'm going to have a forensic accountant here as a guest one day.
Oh, cool.
And they figure out everything, right? But they cost a lot of money. You could spend six figures in a heartbeat on a reasonably decent case. Well, who's going to pay for it? Client has no money. Client's got a contingency. They think just show up, pick up the check. So their attitude is, you do all the work, and that's why they'll call you day and night. So most of the time when you call and you're on a contingency, you had to talk to some assistant or
the secretary,
somebody, whatever it is. But they will find a way to run up those numbers so that they can make it sellable for more than it's really worth.
Yeah.
And it's done on a daily basis. But the good ones not only know biomechanics, and I'm going to have a PI lawyer here in a couple of weeks. He's working on a very important case right now. He doesn't want them to think how bad he is. He's on radio.
Okay.
So he's going to wait
until after the case.
Until the case is settled.
Okay.
But the bottom line is the good ones are well known. They have reputation. They belong to an organization like ABOTA, American Board of Trial Advocates. So when you go in and interview these lawyers, ask him or her, where'd you go to school? If they say they went to the University of Guadalajara, it's different than they went to Harvard.
Right.
But the Harvard lawyers don't tend to be working in personal injury.
No.
They're working, grinding out the hours at the firm in Century City. So everybody that can't make any real money is out there scrambling for all the scraps. And that's what it is. And so the average soft tissue injury case, as I usually view them from the reports that I read, and you look at all the medical results and the tests and how far could you lift your hand before the accident kind of thing, and they're worth usually between $5,500 and $7,500, $8,000 maybe. And since it's less than the $10,000 in the jurisdictional limit, they go to the court. There's no insurance company can't be there. The defendant can show up, but they usually don't know anything. Did you hit him? Yeah, I hit him. They don't really care. They got an insurance company.
Right.
But the insurance companies decided not to pay for one reason or another, and it doesn't take much.
So the insurance company doesn't have to show up?
They generally do. There's a guy that I used to see all the time from one of the big carriers. He would sit in the courtroom all the time. I mean, I recognized them after a while. But what they did was they appealed. And they could do that. And in an appeal, they could have a lawyer. And they either paid it or they didn't pay it. So the best hope for a party that has to go through this song and dance, this ballerina, this whole ballet, is to threaten them with bad faith. Bad faith meaning you should have paid the claim. You stuck me here. I got a judgment again on my name. You had to get it set aside. Whatever it is, that's the only thing that gets their attention, that keeps their attention is.
So the
risk.
defendant has the insurance company has to file a bad faith claim.
They can, if they get stuck, they can.
They get stuck with the bill, and the insurance company doesn't want to pay it.
Well, I told you the story about the $12,000 case. It ended up they paid over $3 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that one you can read yourself. It's in my book. It's called Essex Insurance Company versus Five Star Dye House, Inc. Took a long time. The insurance company didn't defend the defendant. Lost $1 million in the trial. There was no lawyer that was representing him that was any good. It was a guy he just got out of. He was driving a truck just before he got his license, and he was the lawyer. He had no money to hire an expert, whatever it is. And even though it took a long time to get there, the price the insurance company paid was several $1 million for not defending him. Wow. And that happens.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's a specialty, Yeah. But the PI people, they can make a lot of dough.
Yeah.
And many of them do. Very fleshy. And
you mean the ambulance chasers?
Well,
right?
but you ask for personal recommendations.
Yeah.
You see if they belong to organizations.
Right.
Ask them if they're going to put up the money for the forensic accountant.
Yeah.
If they tell you they're not going to spend $50,000 for the forensic accountant, ask which way it is to the back door.
Right. Right.
Because you want somebody. That's why you go to the bigger firms for that. There are certain.
If you're seriously hurt.
Yeah. Oh, I'm only talking about seriously hurt.
Okay.
There are several very good firms. They have tons of money. And they will pay it all. And when we have an opportunity, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. In the meantime, I want to wish all of you a happy holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Politically
Happy
correct.
Hanukkah.
Whatever holiday you observe.
Happy Ramadan. Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa. When is Kwanzaa this year?
Who knows, Judge?
I haven't seen any trees or anything with Kwanzaa on it. So anyway, this is our last show for this year.
It is. And
I wish you all well, and let's talk again. It's for the people because it is for the people.
For you, the people. And get Judge Herb's book, From the Trench to the Bench, Amazon.com. It still can make a good Christmas present, right?
Yeah, it's a great present.
Okay, there you go. All right, Judge. Happy
whatever.
Happy everything.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3